Howdy, howdy. Off-grid North Country. So, in today's society and what's going on in the world, I think if we look back on history, it can bring out some interesting points of the different forms of ideas or governments that have existed. And I'm going to go all the way back to the Genesis, the book in the Bible. There's a story of a man named Nimrod. And also we have other history books to talk about him. The Book of Jasher and a few others. But let's just go a little bit about Nimrod. He was a grandson of Cush. Supposedly, the clothing that was stolen from Noah by Ham was passed on to Cush and then passed to Nimrod, so in his mind because he had the clothing of Noah, he would be the rightful heir of the leadership in the world, so to say. Well, so what he did, at that time there were many small family tribal groupings. He began grouping them all into one, under his authority and power. And one today we'll refer to as the pyramid structure of government. A top-down structure, ruled by one man, and which inhibits individual freedom and differences between societies and cultures. He was powerful, and he brought under more and more of the world under his power until the majority of the world's people at that time were under Nimrod's rulership and taxation. He introduced taxes, money, and basically the system of what we call today Babylon. It wasn't a representative form of government. It was a monarchy dictatorship, but also very similar to what models of socialism or communism would be. But there's an interesting point I want to point out. The people of the North, which were living in the today Armenia, which is close to Mount Ararat, these people resisted his authority. Now, first off, he had conquered Turkey, which at that time was peopled by the ancestors of the Celts. He put them under taxation, or his taxation laws, and he was ruling over them. And he made a move against the last people on earth who were not under his rulership, as we know. They called themselves Aryans. That word's very important in the old language, and today it should be as well. Means, in the old language, creator. Yan means of. So when they would say Aryan, they were directly saying children of or sons of the Creator, or of the Creator. I don't know if we would say sons of, it would be just of the Creator or children of the Creator. And they would not bow down or worship or follow this Nimrod. Well, he decided he's going to conquer them. So he hired the children of Heth, his brother's descendants, or his father's brother's descendants, as mercenaries. And they went up to attack these people in the mountains of Ararat. And Hyke, the grandson of Togomara, or the son, different records say different, but I'd say it's probably the son of Togomara, possibly grandson, by another record, came to Nimrod and met him and said, "Okay, Nimrod, now if you attack us, we're going to fight you, and there's going to be a great loss of life on both sides, and you'll lose a lot of your army. So just be warned, we will fight. We won't give in to your rulership, or your kingdom." But they said, "We'll make a deal. We fight, me and you, a one-on-one duel. If I win, we are free. If you win, we'll serve you." Well, Nimrod looked at this man who was unarmored and Barak looking in his eyes and said, "Yes, fine, I will do it. We'll take the duel." So Nimrod met at the appointed time with his armies behind him. Hyke. In legend, he was redhead. He was one of the first redheads that's mentioned. And remember, Nimrod was black. So I see a marked difference in these people. A fiery redhead facing off a large black man. It was probably quite impressive. Well, as they drew to each other, Nimrod was, by the account, covered in armor, very well armored, and Hyke had no armor on. And Nimrod, sure of himself, came forward, but as he was going towards Hyke, Hyke drew his bow and shot Nimrod. And this shot is basically where the beginning of the division between the top-down governance system and the system of the family, patriarchy, and the tribal order separated. The people who were not come under Nimrod's authority maintained that order which they had from their ancestors. The free-man system. If we look at the dramatic history, they operated in systems of hundreds, where every 100 freemen would appoint a head of 100. Each man had one vote, and the laws were based, and the fines were based in accordance with their status in the tribe. If they were rich, the punishment would be half their property. If they'd done something, for example, say you had seen a thief, and you had allowed the thief to escape, you would be punished by taking of property from you. If you were too poor to afford that, you would be beaten. So the punishment varied based on the standing in the tribe, but all freemen had one vote. And they said the punishment of allowing a thief to escape would be you would receive the punishment the thief would have received. It'd take a while to go over all the laws, but what I want to point out is the idea of today in society, as the world moves more and more towards a one world, new world order, we'd say. It's not really new. It's just coming up again of the Greater Babylon, of Nimrod's system, of top-down governance, where all people who don't agree must be brought into the system. And the thing about a top-down governance is it's very dangerous to individualism and tribalism, the family unit, families in general. Because to speak your mind and to be at odds with the authority cannot be. They want all joined together in one common cause. And in this system of top-down governance, those at the top have all the power. Those at the bottom of the pyramid are nothing more than slaves. Actually, all under the top are slaves. In the free man system, each man is free to work his property, to gather goods around himself, to rule his family, and each man respects the rights of others in a fair system where each man is given value by his honor, his honesty, and his respect to others. In a system of top-down governance, an enemy of the state is considered a threat to the pyramid. They must be reformed or gotten rid of. We can see this in what happened in communist Russia, what happened in China. I mean, think of China. How many millions have died under the communist rule? In Russia, it was 83 million people by the time it was all finished had died for resisting the authority of the state. I don't think people understand in the human nature. Some of us just want to live our lives, grow our food, raise our families, help each other, and enjoy life. We have no desire to rule over others. We have no desire to bring others under subjection. We just want to be left alone to live our lives. But there are others. An insatiable desire to rule over everybody and control the minute details of their lives. I know some of you may look at me and say, well, what does Nimrod have to do with today? Well, I think it's very important to think about this. Is that we have a Creator, and we are His children. He gave us rights and liberties guaranteed by Him. These rights are not given by man. They're given by our Creator. We are His children, or descendants of those He created. So in a sense, when somebody takes the system of the Indo-European, we'd say the Aryans, and compares it with Babylon, we find a great difference. And then in the Babylonian system, you are a cog in the wheel of the government under the authority of a central top-down system. In tribalism, or the early ways, you are the foundation of the people that makes up the body. You know, I think the further we move away from our ancestral ways, from the earth, from the way God intended it, from the family and the community, we lose the ability to comprehend. Most people lose the ability to comprehend how society should operate. And they're told that this way is good and that way is good. And it is said that those who wish to suppress freedom of speech, one of the main reasons they do it is they do not want a threat to their authority, to their ideas. When you post something on Facebook, for example, and it gets a ban or a fact check or a notification under it, they are telling you that they know better than you. At this point, they're not killing you for it. But this kind of attitude, where a man is not allowed to speak unless he agrees with the status quo, leads to nothing more in the end than either the state destroying or killing or forcing to change those that disagree with it. The Bible says there's a time coming, and I think we're coming near to it, where it talks about the beast, the system of the beast, that will rule for 3.5 years. And at the end of the 3.5 year period, 10 nations give their power unto one man, who is called the Antichrist, who standeth up against all that is good, all we consider good, and all we consider right. He worships a god of the force. He causes all, both small and great, to receive a mark in the right hand or forehead. They cannot buy or sell without it. You know, I think we're moving closer and closer to this society we read about in Revelation, where one cannot buy or sell without being approved by the authority. I think we're very close to the digital monetary system. And when that comes out, we will lose more of our freedoms. I mean, now we're on the fiat paper currency, which is valueless in itself. I think I would encourage us all to go back to trade and barter, or gold or silver, or something that's actually based in something. At this point, we're just running under fiat, which we put a value on a piece of paper, which it is not. There is no value in it in a sense, in reality. But the whole thing I see when it comes to this system we see rolling out, not over just America, but over the whole world, as off-grid traditionalists or survivalists or farmers or Christians, we may disagree on many points, but there's one thing we need to keep in mind. that we are fighting in a battle against a system that will in the end seek to destroy our very existence and way of life. It's serious. It's more serious than most people think. I do not think we can stop the system. The Bible says it will come. So we're not stopping the system, but we must not take part in the system. And I would encourage all you out there, look at this objectively. It's not Republicans and Democrats. It is traditionalism against the New World Order. If we don't recognize who our enemy is, we will endlessly be fighting the wrong people. They seek to cause division, strife, and outrage. When you ban somebody for speaking their mind or their thoughts, that causes outrage. I'll tell you, it won't stop it. It will just encourage it. Look what happened when the Catholic Church tried to force all those that were not in its church to become part of its church. The more people they burned, or the more people they killed in torture, or whatever they did, the more they did, the more those numbers grew who disagreed with the church. That method of force is not as effective as they would like to think it is. Because the human in himself knows and wants freedom. We want to be free. We want to have the ability to choose. And, you know, I was born stubborn. My mom always said I was very stubborn as a boy. I would, yeah, sorry for that. I would always, once I set my mind to something, I would push for it. And the children that are growing up today in society are taught to follow the crowd. They're led by propaganda and the influences of big media. But as growing up, we had no television or radio. We were homeschooled. We had very little influence from the outside world. So we grew up free, independent, free thinkers. I know people would say, they look at the people like me and say, oh, you just don't know. But I know what I know. And what I know is that history has shown us what happens when a society no longer allows for a differing view. When society wants to censor, punish, ban, and block those from spreading their ideas and thoughts to others. We are heading for trouble, and it's only going to get worse. When the top-down form of government is used, in its wake follow murders, executions, prison camps. There is no way that a top-down society can maintain its power when those on the fringes do not submit to its authority. So think on this. At this time, it's very important that those of us who do not want to be part of this system, we should form ourselves in communities. We can help each other survive, raise our own food, help each other. That's what we were meant to do on this earth. I don't think we were here just to be loners, to live alone. We got troubled times coming. I don't think that it will ever bring back what was. But it's important we maintain what we have. Because if we don't, what do we leave our children and our grandchildren? And with this, I don't want to make this too long and hope you guys enjoyed it. Like and subscribe and let me know your thoughts. And let's just keep fighting for right the best way we can. Growing our own food, raising our animals, raising good children, and teaching them the way of our ancestors, to love the Creator, and to keep His laws. And let us help one another in this. Hey, take care.